All right, guys, welcome back. It is Friday. It's tank top day, apparently. Jerk Block Talk. I'm here with Cassidy Walensky, one of our coaches, and Eric Sweet behind the camera.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Getting it done. And today we're not going to be on the floor. We're actually going to discuss something else. So this is actually the second time in about a week that this topic has come up. I had the same discussion when I was up at Reebok last week at CrossFit Reebok 1 with some of the staff there. It got brought up, and then it got brought up today. So Cassidy, what is the topic for today?
It'd be, what do you do in the situation when you have an athlete who doesn't want to scale, whether it be scale the weight for whatever the load is intended for RX, or the rep scheme, or the movement, just whatever you do whenever you have an athlete who doesn't want to scale at all. Right.
So if you've been coaching for a while, this has happened to you. It happens all the time. So let's say you have a barbell movement for the day, and you as the coach, been doing this a while, you're a seasoned vet, and you know that the load is too heavy for the athlete, or the reps are too high, or whatever it is, and the athlete is just, Johnny wants to try as hard, he wants to try hard, and he's like, no, I'm good. So everybody's heard that one, right? Like, I'm good, I can do it. So then it turns into, well, how do you manage that scenario? Clearly, as the coach, having been somebody that's been around a while, like, we all know how that story ends. Like, we've seen it a million times, but how do we manage it? So I'm actually going to pitch to Cassidy on this one first, and I'm going to let him tell you how he would manage it, and then I would tell you some ways. If he doesn't actually take my ideas, then I'll go with.
I'm really scared he's going to take my idea.
That's all right.
Because I have a good one.
Yeah, well, we can just repeat the same idea over and over, which makes us all smart. So.
Well, I guess the best idea is you as the all-knowing figure as a coach. You know what's best. You're supposed to know your athlete's best. You would just set the law. If you say the weight's going to be decreased and they keep fighting on it, you need to be the bigger force between the rock and the hard place of making them go to the lighter weight or change the scheme, because you ultimately know what's best for them, even though they want to get that RX on the board, or they want to compete with quote-unquote big boys in the class, or whatever the case may be. You know them better from a different aspect to ultimately make that decision. You as a coach should be making that decision.
I would agree. So I think Cassidy brings up a really good point, which is a lot of, specifically like newer coaches. So if you're new, this scenario is going to come up and it's going to feel a little bit awkward. It's going to feel, you're going to feel a little bit out of place. But remember, when you're the coach, you're the authority figure. So you're responsible for people on the floor. You're responsible for the decisions they make. Like, if they mess it up, that's your fault. It's our fault. And again, this whole thing is about being better and doing better. So one of those things is understanding, like, you're in charge. So in that scenario, don't be afraid to be like, no, it's not happening. This is what you're going to do today, and go ahead and make that call. In the event that conflict is something that you're uncomfortable for, so some coaches, they don't like conflict. Totally cool. And I would argue that there's a lot of scenarios where you don't want conflict in front of the class, right? So I don't want to get into a pissing contest with Johnny about the weight that he's going to use on the barbell. There are some other options. So here's one. So Eric's a little intrigued now, because Eric just likes to boss people around. I prefer to go this route, and because it requires the athlete to think. So I will give them the option to choose the load, but it'll be with a caveat. Right, so I won't just be like, okay, do whatever you want, Johnny. It'll be like, okay, Johnny, you can use 185 for the power snatch, but if you finish the workout, let's say the time domain for the workout is supposed to be like 10 minutes. I'll be like, if you finish over 15 minutes, you're going to pay the man afterwards. And sometimes I'll tell him what the penalty is, and sometimes I won't. Strike
and deal with the devil.
Yeah, so... And what you'll see if you do that, and now issue is here, you got to be right. So as the coach, you need to know that this is not going to play out. And when you do this, 9 times out of 10, what you'll see from the athlete is an immediate back pedal. So be like, hey, dude, like all right, you can have that weight on there, but in the event that you finish 5 minutes out, if it's intended to be done in 10 minutes and you finish in 15 minutes, you owe me 75 burpees, which fucking nobody wants to do. So what you'll see is the gears will start turning, and then the athlete will most likely start backpedaling into a better decision. So try it out. Again, you need to know what the intended time domain for the workout is as the coach, so that you can make that bargain with the athlete. And then it's not to say that there's not some occasions where you just want to let somebody, I don't say you want to let them make a bad decision, but sometimes they need to come to the realization that
Correct.
that wasn't the right decision.
Give them enough rope.
So
Yeah.
I think most of us have made bad decisions in the past, and we remember what it's like. Those of us who have been doing this for a long time,
Yeah.
that are kind of seasons, so we know, like, oh shit, I bit off more than I can chew in this workout. Oh wow, I don't want to do that again. So one of the techniques that I like to use is
Here, let's switch so that Eric can get in on this. Yeah, so this is Eric.
Hi, how you doing?
This is Eric's technique, which would be what?
This is my technique. So I like to prove to the athlete that, hey, this is what the load is going to feel like. So and during the warm-up process, after the dynamic, when we get into the bars or movement specific, especially with the barbell, I like them to go ahead and get a feel of what that weight's going to be. So I give them like a quick time domain. I know if it's going to be like a 20-minute workout, they're going to have chunks of time with that weight. So I like to take a little chunk of that, put it on the clock, and say, hey, let's do X amount of reps within this time domain. All right, so let's say the weight is 135, we got to snatch it. Let's say we have to do 30 of these. Let's do that for 20 seconds, grab that bar, see what it feels like. That might be able to trigger a response of, ooh, maybe this is a little slightly heavy. Once that 3, 2, 1 goes down and the clock starts going, and they can kind of get a picture of what it's going to be like in that workout, they might just do their own backpedaling.
Give them a little taste
Give 'em a little
before.
taste. Give 'em
Give
sample.
them a little taste, right? So I think that's a good point that Eric brings up, and we do that a lot at CrossFit Rife, which is you kind of do like little mini rounds before the workout starts. You should have worked up to your working load, and then if it's like 5 rounds where they're going to do 10 barbell movements, and then arbitrarily we'll say double unders, what we'll have is I'll have them do 3 barbell movements and a couple double unders here and there, and I'll usually give the stipulation, meaning like if it was 5 rounds of 10, meaning we're going to get a total volume of 50, they should have chosen a weight that they're probably going to be able to do 3 touch and go right out of the gate in that mini round. If they can't do that, and you've kind of explained to them that that's what it should be like, again, what you want them to do is make that decision on their own based on the scenario that you've set up in front of them. So
So they don't always have to play that authoritative figure.
you want them to come to the decision, but you kind of want to guide them there. So sometimes you're going to have to lay that stuff out for them and let them do that. But don't be afraid to kind of lay down a little bit of a bet there. And you might get proven wrong occasionally, and you know
like
what?
that.
Then great. Then they've proven their fitness, and,
That's right.
and now everybody wins. So, you guys got anything else? You have anything else?
Yeah. What about in the situation? What are your thoughts on? Let's say it's 2 rounds of 30 reps. You just use a snatch at 185. 2 rounds, 20 reps of a 135 snatch.
Long rounds.
What about cutting the reps back but keeping that same weight? Doing 20 reps instead of 30, or
Ooh, that's good, because I feel like you as a coach have to determine what's best for the athlete. Should this athlete get stronger? Is he really weak? Or is it something he needs to get
it all
fitter?
depends on
Or is it a skill thing?
So right. So I think Cassie brings up a good point.
Yeah.
Remember when that workout was made, it was made intended for a specific volume
That's
to
right.
be done in a specific time domain. So a lot of the times the athlete would be like, well, let me cut the reps back so that I can go heavier weight. And I would tell you that's not the right answer.
Yeah.
Tell them to drop the weight down and go faster, right? And a lot of people really, really underestimate the value in a lighter barbell because it sucks. Nobody likes hammering a 75-pound barbell for 75 to 100 reps. Like, it sucks super bad. So don't be afraid to put lighter weight on there. I've never seen anybody like cheat themselves out of any fitness by going a little bit lighter and going harder. So explain that to them. I think that's some good stuff. But again, those are a couple different ways that you could handle an athlete or maybe even a couple athletes that don't want to scale when they come into the workout. They always want to throw on 315 on the barbell for deadlifts, or they always want to do 135 power snatch when it's not really a weight that's manageable for them. Play around with that stuff. See if you can get them to kind of understand that, you know, things are intended to have a specific stimulus. And really what they need to understand is, like, by following your guidance as the coach, which should be the right guidance, they're going to get fitter, and they will eventually get to that 315 barbell. They will eventually get to that 135 power snatch. But they're not going to do it if the intensity always super, super low, because they're doing weights, moving barbells that are not appropriate for the workout. So again, guys, if you got questions, please post them in the comments. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.